So quarterfinal number 1 for Saturday, it's the second quarterfinal overall, sees the Crusaders take on the Sharks in Christchurch. It's top qualifier against bottom qualifier, number 1 versus number 8. On paper, this one has the looks of very one-sided affair, but looking at the two teams, there's well, there's a lot to look forward to anyway, even if it's not on paper looking to be a close one. So you got the Crusaders, who are pretty consistently dominant. They haven't been beaten at home in a very long time, couple of years, against the Sharks, who couldn't find really any consistency this season. And I got the All Blacks gear on today, not only because my Sharks jersey is back in New Zealand, but also because this Crusaders team has a lot of All Blacks in it. They're without Joe Moody in this one, but I mean, you got Perry, Taylor, and Franks in that front row, Barrett and Whitelock in the second row, Taufua, Todd, and Reed in the back row. I mean, the majority of those guys have been in black at some point, or at least in camp. And that's without even looking at the backs. You've got Hall, who gets the nod over Drummond at 9, and there's no spot for Israel Dag. It is Havili again, so Dag doesn't even make the squad. It's a pretty mean-looking team for the Sharks. Their back row of Philip van der Walt, Jacques Vermeulen, and Dan du Preez are going to have to be on form. Last week they made a whole lot of tackles. One would imagine if the Sharks are going to have any hope of victory in this one, they're going to have to tackle their guts out, because the Jaguares last week had a lot of ball. The Sharks' defense, proved pretty strong throughout that game. But this is a totally different test, playing the Crusaders away. Rob du Preez, who is the competition's top point scorer, is also going to have to be on form. He has been pretty radar accurate with that boot of his all season. I would imagine he's going to need more of the same. Also, Esterhuizen on Crotty is going to be an interesting one. With Crotty, I mean, with that guy's injury record, I'm always watching him every time he makes a tackle to see just how quickly he gets up. Esterhuizen is a large gentleman, so if he runs at Crotty and Crotty gets injured, that could be kind of disconcerting for the Crusaders. But obviously, fingers crossed that everyone kind of remains fit and healthy throughout the game. So yeah, on paper you look at the records: 14-2-0 against the team which couldn't even get a positive win record, so 7 wins, 8 losses, and a draw. But if you look at some of those results, there is a bit for the Sharks to hope for. I mean, the Crusaders beat all their South African teams that they played. They beat the Stormers, the Bulls, and the Lions. They didn't end up playing the Sharks, so this gives this match a bit more mystery about it. But if you look at the Sharks' record when they played the New Zealand teams, they beat the Blues comfortably. They beat the Highlanders. They beat the Chiefs. And they came within 2 points and a couple of minutes of beating the Hurricanes away from home. So for whatever reason, this crazy Sharks season where they've not been able to get consistency, the one area they have been consistent is that they've performed well against New Zealand opposition. Not the Crusaders, because they haven't played them, but that does add a little bit of spice. And also, an interesting little factoid which I found out watching a tour of Beeston Tawera's home. For whatever reason, I was watching that. But I knew the Sharks had beaten the Crusaders a few years ago in Christchurch in a match where they had a man down for most of the game. It turns out that match was the Beast's 100th game. So in his 100th game, they went into Christchurch and managed to beat the Crusaders, which doesn't happen very often. And this match just happens to be the Beast's 150th Super Rugby game. So he's got a little bit of history of getting a result on a special game. Whether that bodes well for the Sharks, I'm not so sure, but it is an interesting little factoid, if nothing else. In saying that, no South African team has ever won a playoff game in New Zealand. So that maybe puts a bit of a dampener on that. The weather looks to be cloudy for this one, so hopefully we should get some entertaining rugby. It is a New Zealand ref, it's Mike Fraser. Hopefully we're not talking about him at the end of the game and any potential bias. The Crusaders by 20 is what the bookies are saying, so they're giving this one to the Crusaders all day long. What do you guys think? Of all the teams to play the Crusaders, do you think the Sharks are one of the ones to have a better chance, or do you think it's still going to be pretty much all one-sided? Yeah, you guys let me know your thoughts, and I'll talk to you again soon. See you later.